Discover the incredible lives of Monaco's richest women, 5 amazing transformations revealed. Incredible, in the heart of the shimmering coastal town, Sarah found herself at a crossroads. An enviable existence contrasted sharply with a haunting past. No more cramped apartments. Gone were the days of late shifts at a diner, pouring coffee for generous takers and indifferent snobs alike. Now, as a dedicated philanthropist in Monaco, she danced between lavish galas and grassroots efforts, all in a relentless pursuit to uplift those society often overlooked. Yet, even surrounded by palm trees swaying gently in the Mediterranean breeze, Sarah felt the bittersweet pangs of belonging mingle with the overwhelming weight of estrangement. The charity gala loomed, resplendent with gold chandeliers flickering in the twilight, promising to unite the wealthy elite under a banner of altruism. Yet, as delicious hors d'oeuvres danced on platters, Sarah couldn't shake an uneasy feeling. Despite her glitzy new friends and the acknowledgement she had gained, shadows of her family loomed larger even from a distance. They would be there, clenching champagne flutes, sharing glances that spoke more about loss than celebration. The disapproval was palpable. An uninvited guest at her triumph. As anticipation crackled in the air, memories flooded back. Family holiday gatherings where laughter echoed through sunlit rooms morphed into ghostly reminders of approval, acceptance, and shared history. She recalled a family picnic by the sea, the warmth of her mother's embrace, the simplicity of familiar games and joyful screams. Then, the sharp blade of betrayal flashed through her mind, a wound that refused to heal. Could they truly understand her transformation? Or were they merely spectators in a drama they never wanted to see? Before we continue, I need to let you know about something important that's happening. YouTube has been making changes to the system and many people are losing notifications from channels they follow. If you're enjoying the content, hit that bell and mark all notifications so you don't miss the next videos. And if you can drop a like, it really helps me with reach. Seriously, it makes a difference. Oh, let me know in the comments where you're watching from. I'm always curious to know who's on the other side of the screen. Now let's continue. The vibrant cultural festival was a breathtaking contrast to the exclusive gala's posh reality. Amid the kaleidoscope of colors, inclusive laughter, and bustling streets of celebration, Sarah found her purpose ignited. As she stepped into her project to unite social divides, she embraced children squealing in delight, and parents' grateful smiles lit up their faces. Yet, like a heavy storm cloud, skepticism lingered in her family's eyes, waiting for her to falter, whispering doubts that echoed through her heart. Could her old ties withstand this burden of hope? As the festival swelled with energy, Sarah felt the community rally around her. The clarity of their recognition was electrifying. But deep inside, the question loomed: would she always entrust her heart to those lofty aspirations? Could she bridge the chasm between her present reality and the tangled remnant of her past? The clock ticked down to the charity gala, tightening her chest with its inevitable approach. Amidst the laughter and celebration, a poignant moment lingered on the horizon, poised to challenge everything she'd known. Would reconciliation prove a genuine possibility? Or would she find herself standing alone, engulfed by the noise of partygoers, feeling the weight of both triumph and loss? Uncertainty wrapped around her like a shroud, deceivingly beautiful, yet achingly heavy. As the gala commenced, laughter echoed through the grand hall, but it felt distant to Sarah. Each chime of champagne glasses reminded her of the thin line separating her past from this new life she'd chosen. It was as if the echoes of her old self were trapped between the ornate walls of glittering decor and eager faces, waiting to burst free but held back by unspoken fears. She stood at the fringes, clutching a glass of sparkling water like a lifeline. The music flowed around her, a beautiful melody, yet weighed down by her unease. Guests adorned in designer gowns and sharp suits moved gracefully, their confident smiles contrasting with the knot growing tighter in her stomach. She could already spot her family across the room, their faces a blend of pride and disapproval, watching her every move. Tonight was meant to be about charity, about giving back, but all she sensed was their judgment, like a spotlight trained on her struggles. Memories floated between her consciousness and the present: her father's disappointed sigh when she chose this path, the silent treatment from her sister who thought she'd lost her way, the heaviness of family loyalty clashing with her thirst for independence. Would they ever see her or just the mistakes she made, caught between the uproar and the shadows of her past? Sarah's heart began to race. Was it possible to bridge the gap? Or was she destined to be alone in a room full of people? With a resolve born out of desperation, she took a deep breath and walked toward them, each step feeling monumental, a silent battle against the weight of the past. Sarah. Her mother's voice pierced the air, as warm and familiar as she remembered, yet tinted with concern. There you are. Her arms opened wide, prompting an automatic embrace that pulled her back to the joyful moments of her childhood. I'm glad you made it, Sarah managed, her voice trembling slightly as she stepped back to meet her mother's gaze. The moment hung between them, perched precariously on the edge of a cliff. Did they understand how far she had come? Of course we came. This is important for you, her mother replied, glancing past her at the gathering. It's just that we worry about you. Worry flickered like a candle's flame, and Sarah felt her heart sink. I'm doing this for them, for all of us. The vulnerability in her voice pierced through the surface, revealing layers of her heart she seldom shared. Her mother hesitated, then took Sarah's hands in hers. We just want you to be happy. You have so much potential. It was a gentle balm, but the underlying message carried baggage. She could feel her mother's unvoiced thoughts, the questions that lingered unspoken. Isn't that what I'm trying to do? Sarah replied, feeling a flicker of defiance. This was her chance to create a bridge, but would it be strong enough to sustain the weight of her past? Suddenly, the lights dimmed as a microphone crackled to life, drawing everyone's attention. The host of the gala was preparing to speak, and in that moment, Sarah felt a surge of urgency. She would have to speak her truth before she could fade into the background again. But just as she was about to push through the crowd, a familiar face appeared at her side, a figure from her past who she didn't expect to see. A sense of dread washed over her. Sarah, he said, his voice smooth yet heavy with implications. We need to talk. The world around her faded, and the weight of her choices rushed back, the shadows twisting into a claustrophobic embrace. What did he want? Could this confrontation derail everything she'd worked for? As the gala lights sparkled above, she braced herself, heart pounding louder than ever. Would this encounter unravel her new life, or could it be the key to solidifying a brighter future? Only time would tell. Sarah turned to face him, her pulse racing as memories flooded back. His blue eyes were the phantom of countless late-night conversations and secrets shared. James, she murmured, her voice barely audible above the chatter around them. What are you doing here? There was a flicker of something in his gaze, a mix of surprise and perhaps regret. I came to support the cause, he said, gesturing vaguely to the elegant tables adorned with candles and artworks meant to raise money for the charity. But Sarah could tell his mind was somewhere else, lost in the past that loomed between them like an unwanted guest. Support. Or to confront me. There's a difference, she shot back, her heart thundering not from anger, but from the weight of old wounds that never seemed to heal. He opened his mouth to respond, but the host stepped onto the stage, effectively redirecting Sarah's attention. A tall figure clad in an eye-catching silver gown began to speak, captivating the audience. The sound of voices faded into the background like murmurings from another world. As she turned back to James, he took a step closer, lowering his voice. Listen, Sarah. We need to talk about everything. About how we left things. Panic gripped her. Was he really going to bring this up now, at such a pivotal moment in her life? She had fought so hard to put her past behind her, to redefine herself outside his shadow. Now is not the time, she whispered, desperation spilling into her voice. Why not? Because you don't want to hear the truth. His words sliced through her self-composed facade. She glanced back at her family. They were still watching, still judging, and she could feel the weight of their expectations. You don't understand, she said, her voice trembling. I can't do this right now. I have everything to lose. Do you? Or are you just afraid to reclaim what could be yours? His challenging tone sent a chill through her. With every heartbeat, he was unraveling threads of confidence she had woven securely around herself. She had fought hard for this new life, and the last thing she wanted was a reminder of the past that tainted it. "I've worked too hard for this," she answered sharply, trying to project the strength she didn't entirely feel. "I can't let you sabotage it." But the flicker of doubt in her tone didn't go unnoticed. He leaned in, voice softening. "I never wanted to sabotage anything, Sarah. I wanted to see you succeed. But are you truly happy?" For a brief moment, her defenses trembled. Was it happiness that she felt, or was it the thrill of proving everyone, including herself, wrong? The gala, the glitz, the glamour, it felt like a stage, and she was more performer than participant. Before she could respond, the audience erupted into applause, cheers echoing as the host concluded their speech. Lights brightened once more, pulling her back into the current of the evening. "There's still time," James's voice lingered, a promise hanging like a specter above them. "Please, let us talk later." Sarah stepped back, heart racing as he faded into the crowd, leaving her alone again. She had a moment, a decision to make. Did she really want to revisit the past? Was it worth digging back into that part of herself when she had fought so hard to leave it behind? As laughter and music swelled once more, she felt suspended between her old life and this new beginning. Would she risk losing the progress she had made just to address what had been left unsaid? With a deep breath, Sarah turned back to her family, willing herself to embrace the hope and potential that lay ahead. But even as she faced them, the question gripped her mind, tugging insistently on her heart. What if the truth James offered was the key to unlocking her future? The gala sparkled around her, but inside, she felt a storm brewing, a choice looming on the horizon. Sarah felt the warmth of the room pressing in around her. The laughter and chatter draped over her like a sound curtain, muffling the chaos brewing inside her mind. She spotted her parents near the dessert table, her mother's radiant smile overshadowed by the occasional glance toward Sarah, searching for approval. "Everything okay, honey?" her mother asked as Sarah approached, a slice of chocolate torte already waiting for her. "Yeah, just a lot on my mind," Sarah replied, forcing a smile that felt more like a mask. Her mother's eyes lingered too long, like she could sense the turmoil bubbling just beneath the surface. "Sugar always helps, especially at a gala," her mother chirped, hoping to ease the air surrounding them. But guilt twisted in Sarah's gut. She didn't want her family worrying over her. This was supposed to be a celebration, but the weight of unresolved things kept crushing down. As she looked around, Sarah could see the glittering lights reflecting off the elegant gowns moving gracefully about the room. Couples whispered sweet nothings, their laughter ringing clear like tiny bells. And there was James, a brief flash of familiarity among strangers. The sight of him sparked a fire in her. Once she thought she had extinguished, it rekindled fierce memories of laughter and heartbreak. Determined to focus on the night, Sarah turned to the charity auction taking place just a few paces away. A stunning vase caught her eye, its intricate details catching the light in such a way that it practically shimmered. The voice of the auctioneer faded in and out as her thoughts drifted back to James. Why had he chosen now, of all times, to confront her? Did he realize the stakes? The danger that lay in reopening old wounds. The ticking clock of her parents' expectations haunted her. Doubt flickered in her mind. What if confronting her past could unlock a happiness she had yet to find? For a moment, she felt as though she was walking on the edge of a high dive, contemplating whether to take the leap or retreat back to the safety of solid ground. "Sarah!" The bright voice of Ella, her childhood friend, jolted her from her thoughts. "You have to come see this." With a slight hesitation, Sarah followed Ella through the crowd, the energy of the night wrapping around her like an embrace. As they reached a more secluded area, a cluster of guests had gathered around a performer, a magician who was captivating them with deft card tricks and illusions. But even as she watched, her attention drifted back to the choice looming in her mind. The welcoming laughter faded, and James's words echoed like an uninvited melody, urging her to confront the truth. The magician's final trick resulted in applause and cheers, but Sarah stood aside, lost in contemplation. What did she truly want? "Hey, are you all right?" Ella's voice broke through again, filled with genuine concern. Yeah, just thinking, Sarah mumbled, but the words felt like paper-thin excuses. The energy shifted slightly as James reappeared in her line of sight. His expression held a blend of hope and uncertainty, echoing the same emotions swirling in her heart. And then, in that moment wrapped in both anticipation and dread, something within her shifted. Did she want to keep running, or would she dare to face the possibilities? Before she could decide, James was gliding toward her, his gaze steady and searching. "Sarah, are you ready?" he asked, the weight of their past woven through those simple words. She took a breath, her heart racing, an answer forming at the tip of her tongue. Whether it was an affirmation or an evasion, she didn't know. But whether she was ready or not, the night was about to unravel in ways Sarah never anticipated. What if this conversation would change everything? Sarah's heart pounded in her chest as she stood before James, who seemed to breathe life into her questions. The gala around them faded into a blur, the laughter, the music, the elegant gowns, all of it felt distant, as if they existed in a different realm. Here and now, it was just the two of them, caught in a moment that felt both terrifying and exhilarating. "You look beautiful, Sarah," he said softly, his eyes reflecting sincerity etched with a hint of vulnerability. Her breath caught in her throat. After all this time, hearing those words from him brought a rush of warmth that lit up the darker corners of her mind. But there was something about the way he said it that made her feel uneasy. Was he really seeing her, or just an echo of his past? "Thank you," she replied, unsure of how to navigate this sudden shift. "It's good to see you." James smiled, but there was a heaviness there, too, a shadow of something that hung between them like a tangled thread. "I wasn't sure you'd come tonight." "Why wouldn't I? It's a big deal for my parents," she deflected, keeping her tone light even as her insides twisted. He nodded, but his gaze didn't waver. "I know how much it means to them. But it means something to me too." She could feel the weight of his words pressing down. He wanted her to understand. A part of her craved clarity, the chance to explore what lay beneath their history, but the past loomed large, a dense fog obscuring any vision of the future. "James, we can't just ignore everything that happened," she said, forcing herself to keep her voice steady. It wasn't just about them anymore, it was about her dreams, her family's expectations, the paths they had both chosen. "I'm not asking you to ignore it. I want to talk about it," he urged, stepping closer, the warmth radiating from his presence almost palpable. "Can we just have an honest moment?" His earnestness stirred something deep within her. It was hope mingled with fear. "I don't want to go back," she confessed softly, her eyes glistening despite her attempts to hold the tears back. "What if it just leads to more hurt?" He reached for her hand, his grip gentle yet firm, grounding her in a way that sent electric currents through her veins. "What if it leads to healing?" Silence fell between them, thick and heavy, filled with the weight of unanswered questions. A part of her wanted to pull away, to retreat into the comfort of denial and routines she had built up around herself. But another part, a more daring part, leaned forward, craving the possibility that lay ahead. "I don't know if I'm brave enough," Sarah whispered, uncertainty gnawing at her. James opened his mouth to speak, but before he could form the words, a loud burst of laughter erupted from the crowd, disrupting their moment. They both turned, the spell between them broken. "Come on, this is supposed to be fun," Ella called out, waving them over. The sudden brightness of the moment felt like a reminder of the world outside their bubble. "Maybe you can come back," James suggested, hope flickering in his eyes again. "Just think about it. We could meet up, talk more." "Yeah, maybe," she said automatically, wanting to cling to the idea. But deep down, uncertainty clawed at her, pulling her in two directions. As she followed Ella back into the throng of people, Sarah felt an unfamiliar confusion wrapping around her like a cloak. The laughter felt hollow compared to the turbulence inside her, and her earlier resolve began to dissolve, but somewhere within her was the undeniable spark of possibility ignited by James's words. What if he was right? What if facing the truth could lead her to a better version of herself, one she had yet to meet, just as she was lost in her thoughts, she glanced back, catching James's eye one last time. The connection was electric, and unspoken promises hung in the air. "Sarah!" Ella called out again, pulling her from the moment. With one last look at James, Sarah felt a mix of anticipation and dread settle in her chest. Could she truly face what lay ahead, or would she allow fear to keep her rooted in the past? And what would happen the next time their paths crossed? The music pulsed around Sarah, a stark contrast to the whirlwind in her mind. Laughter echoed, glasses clinked, and elegant conversations blended into a cacophony of celebration, but all the sounds felt muted to her. She had stepped into a world of glitz and glamour, yet within her, a battle raged. Ella tugged on Sarah's arm, pulling her toward a cluster of partygoers sipping champagne. "You have to meet this couple. They're simply fabulous." Sarah forced a smile, trying to blend in with the lively energy. But her thoughts kept drifting back to James. The way he had looked at her, the weight of his words, the spark in his gaze. It was dizzying. "Sarah." Ella waved her hand. "Are you even listening?" "Yeah, sorry. Just a bit distracted." The truth was, Sarah was caught in a dance of possibility and fear. What did James want from her? Did she even want to encounter the past? She needed to breathe, to think. With a polite excuse, she slipped away from the group, seeking solitude amidst the ornate decor. She stepped outside, into the cool night air, trying to clear her head. The night sky sparkled with stars, a million tiny beacons reminding her of hope. But hope for what? A reunion or a confrontation? She sat on a marble bench, staring up at the sky. She remembered the countless nights she and James had shared under similar stars, lost in dreams and silent promises. But the past wasn't just glittering memories. It came with jagged edges, wounds that had never truly healed. Suddenly, a voice broke through her thoughts. "What are you doing out here all alone?" Startled, she turned to see James standing a few feet away, hands in his pockets, looking both hopeful and terrified. "I just needed a moment," she stammered, her heart racing again. "It's peaceful out here," he said, stepping closer, his stance both inviting and intimidating. "Do you mind if I join you?" She nodded, unsure of how to respond. The weight of his presence was overwhelming, yet comforting all at once. As he settled beside her, she felt the familiar rush of feelings collide within her. "What's going on in that head of yours?" he asked softly, glancing at her with an intensity that made her stomach flip. "I don't know if I should even be talking to you," she admitted, her voice barely above a whisper. "It feels complicated and messy." "Life is messy," he replied, his voice steady. "But does that mean it isn't worth exploring? I don't want to push you. I want to understand." Sarah sighed deeply, letting the cool air fill her lungs. "Understand what? Why everything went wrong? Or why I'm still thinking about you?" "Maybe both," he suggested, his gaze unwavering. "What if the answers are in this moment, not the past?" "I want to hear your thoughts, Sarah, really hear them." His honesty pierced through her hesitance, but an inner voice screamed caution. Could she really open herself up to him again? "I'm scared," she admitted, blinking away tears that threatened to spill. "Scared of falling back into old patterns. Scared of getting hurt." "Sometimes, we have to risk getting hurt to find something real," James countered gently. "And I believe what we had is worth that risk." For the first time in years, Sarah felt the walls she had built beginning to crack. She faced him fully, searching for sincerity in his eyes. They held a flicker of hope, a promise maybe that they could navigate this tangled mess together, but her heart whispered another fear. What if this was just another illusion? What if stepping back into his world led her to even greater pain? "Sarah," he urged, his voice anchoring her swirling thoughts. "I need to know if you're willing to try. Will you give us that chance?" In that frozen moment, everything teetered on the edge of decision. She closed her eyes, heart racing. What if she stepped forward? What if she pulled away? The silence deepened, filled with unspoken truths, and she knew the weight of her choice would echo far beyond this night. Could she leap into the unknown, or was she bound to the ghosts of their past? And somewhere within that uncertainty lay the cusp of a transformation. Or an inevitable closing door. "Sarah," James said softly, just above a whisper, breaking the tension that hung heavy between them. The night air wrapped around her like a cocoon, amplifying her inner chaos. His eyes sparkled with something that felt dangerously close to hope, yet weighed down with the baggage of their shared history. "Everything feels so unresolved," she finally confessed, her voice trembling. "Can we really go back and make it right?" "Maybe we don't have to go back," he replied, taking a cautious step closer. "Maybe we can start fresh, here. Right now." His words stirred something inside her, a curiosity alongside trepidation. Back then, they had just been kids in love, they had been dreamers, full of laughter and plans. But life had pushed them apart, shaping who they were now. "What if it doesn't work?" she mumbled, a mix of fear and longing in her tone. "What if we discover we're not those people anymore? Then we learn from it. Together," he said, his resolve shining through the uncertainty. "I want to understand how we got here. I want to know you again." A wave of nostalgia washed over Sarah, flooding her with memories that felt both sweet and painful. Sunny afternoons kicking back with ice cream, wild adventures, and stolen kisses. Yet there was also heartache, the kind that carved deep scars into her heart. "James, it's not just about us anymore. There are things that have changed in our lives, our priorities," she whispered, her gaze dropping to the ground. A part of her craved the connection they once had, but she also knew how easily love could slip into something darker. He reached out, gently lifting her chin so that their eyes met. "I see you, Sarah. I don't want to ignore the past or act like it didn't happen. I want to face it with you. I've never stopped caring, not for a single moment." Her heart fluttered, battling against her mind's caution. Could she really trust him again? Was she repeating old patterns of hope? Or was this the chance for something genuine and transformative? "Do you think we can ever rebuild?" she asked, her voice stronger now, even as the knot in her stomach tightened. "Only if we're willing to be honest and vulnerable with each other," he replied firmly. "No more secrets. Just us, in this moment." Sarah took a deep breath, grounding herself in the honesty of his words. For too long, she had insulated her heart against its own yearnings. But here, standing beneath the expanse of the stars and the weight of everything unsaid, she realized she had to make a choice. "Okay," she voiced softly, feeling the tremors of decision ripple through her. "I'll try to see where this goes. But it doesn't erase the hurt." "Nothing will ever erase it," he nodded solemnly. "But maybe we can create something new among the rubble if we're both brave enough." As he spoke, she felt a flicker of anticipation course through her. It was as if they stood on the edge of a precipice, ready to leap into the unknown. But the question still loomed: could they really bridge the chasm of their past? Suddenly, the sound of laughter from the party echoed off the walls, pulling them both back into the present. Sarah glanced at the horizon, where a hint of dawn began to appear. "Let us go back inside," she suggested, a mix of anxiety and excitement bubbling within her. "But I want us to keep talking. There is so much we need to explore together." James smiled, warmth flooding his expression as he moved to take her hand. "Together," he affirmed, drawing her back toward the vibrant energy of the party, where possibilities waited. But as they walked, an unsettling thought gnawed at her. Was this the right step? Or was she merely opening herself up to the same pain once again? Suddenly, the music swelled, drowning out her thoughts, and for a moment, everything felt possible. Yet, the weight of her choice loomed, and the question hung heavily: what would happen when the reality of their fragile connection collided with the truths of their past? As they stepped back into the vibrant atmosphere of the party, the pulse of the music wrapped around them like a warm embrace. Laughter mingled with the clinking of glasses and the chatter of old friends catching up. For a moment, Sarah felt buoyed by the energy of the crowd, a sharp contrast to the private tension they had just navigated. Yet, beneath the surface, uncertainty bubbled. Every smile exchanged, every familiar face brought a reminder of their shared history. Sarah glanced at James, who looked equally swept up and apprehensive, and she wondered if he felt the weight of their conversations lingering in the air. "Hey, let us grab a drink," he suggested, flashing her a reassuring smile, one that tugged at her heart. She nodded, following him toward the bar, but her mind raced with an uneasy energy. What if their past was a twisted knot they couldn't untangle? What if stepping back into their old world only led to more heartache? As they settled onto one of the bar stools, a mutual friend, Eliza, approached, her smile brightening the room. "You two look cozy. How is it going, lovebirds?" she teased, a playful spark in her eyes. James laughed, a genuine chuckle that made Sarah's heart flutter. "Just trying to reconnect," he said, his eyes momentarily locking with hers, sending a jolt through her. Eliza raised an eyebrow, her curiosity piqued. "That sounds intriguing. You know, sometimes past relationships are harder to navigate than a high school reunion." Her words hung in the air like a challenge, and Sarah could feel them crashing against her more fragile thoughts. She shifted in her seat, unsure if she wanted to divulge how much their past weighed on her. "Yeah, it's definitely complicated," James acknowledged lightly before taking a sip from his drink. "But it's nice to have a second chance." A tight smile settled on Sarah's lips as they exchanged glances. Could this truly be a second chance? Or were they just tinkering with something better left ignored? Eliza seemed to catch on to the tension, her smile faltering briefly. "Well, whatever happens, just be real with each other. Love is messy, but it's also worth fighting for," she said, before drifting back into the party. As the music thumped louder, Sarah's heart raced. To be real with James meant opening herself up, something she had shielded for years. A part of her was hungry for revival, aching to embrace the past and craft a future. But another part warned her that vulnerability was a gamble. "Wanna dance?" James interrupted her thoughts, a hopeful gleam in his eye. "Here. Now." Sarah was surprised by the idea, as chaotic as the swirling crowd around them. "Why not? Let us make a moment," he challenged, standing up and extending his hand. She hesitated, her heart pounding with uncertainty. Images of dancing under disco lights, laughing with James in simpler times flickered through her mind. What if they turned back into those two young dreamers, if only for a moment? Taking a deep breath, she placed her hand in his and stood. As they moved toward the dance floor, her nerves melded with exhilaration. With every step they took, the walls around her heart chipped away. The warm lights, the rhythm of the music, and the collective joy of others enveloped them. But even amidst the laughter and joy, her questions lingered. Could they truly rewrite their story? Would the music drown out the fears and scars of their shared past? As they began to sway, she caught a glimpse of vulnerability in his expression, a silent understanding that they were both teetering on the edge of something deeper. Then, to her surprise, the song shifted to a slow, haunting melody. James pulled her closer, and as they swayed, a feeling of completeness washed over her, yet uncertainty still gnawed at her. "Sarah," he whispered, drawing her gaze deeper into his. "No matter what happens, just know that I'm all in." In that moment, her heart raced. Was she brave enough to be all in as well? As the music flowed around them, the question hung heavily in the air: what would she choose when the past tried to creep back in? And just as the thought solidified, a shadow flickered across the dance floor, capturing their attention. Someone from their past. Or an unexpected twist to their night. Sarah felt the breath hitch in her throat as the shadow materialized, a familiar figure weaving through the pool of flickering lights. Her heart raced faster as she recognized Jenna, an old friend from college and perhaps the last person she had expected to see that night. The energy around them shifted, laughter faded into whispers. Jenna's bright smile didn't quite reach her eyes as she walked toward them, her presence stirring memories Sarah had tried to keep buried. The three of them had shared countless late-night study sessions, impulsive road trips, and moments that made them feel invincible. But life had thrown them all in different directions, and Jenna's rise in the corporate world had always felt just a bit too sharp, too polished compared to the rough edges Sarah had endured. "Wow, look at you two," Jenna remarked, her gaze sweeping over their clasped hands. "I never thought I'd see you two together again. I hope it's better this time." There was a weight in her tone that hinted at the complexities of their shared past. James stepped back slightly, sensing the tension. "Hey, Jenna." "Yeah, we're just trying to reconnect," he said, an edge of caution in his voice. "Right?" Jenna's eyes glimmered with intrigue, but beneath it, Sarah detected the judgment simmering just below the surface. "You always did know how to stir the pot. What brings you here?" Sarah asked, forcing a smile that didn't quite feel genuine. She couldn't help but feel defensive, an instinctive reaction to the shared history that now felt fragile and raw in the spotlight of this unexpected reunion. "Oh, just networking," Jenna replied, waving her hand dismissively. "It's not just a party, it's an opportunity." Sarah's stomach churned. Jenna had always been the one to climb the ladder effortlessly, grasping for positions of influence while Sarah struggled with her own choices. James glanced at Sarah, his eyes widening slightly. It felt as if he were searching for cues, for what to say, but Sarah was lost in her own whirlwind of thoughts. "Listen, it's great to see you, Jenna, but we were in the middle of dancing." Jenna cut him off, her playful challenge hanging in the air. The tension was palpable, and she looked between the two of them, curiosity peaked like a cat prowling for its next prey. "Just don't let the past cloud your present. Second chances can be a real bummer if you're holding on to baggage." The words hit Sarah like a cold slap. Jenna's voice and the weight of expectation pulled into the space between them. Sarah's cheeks flushed as she instinctively grasped James's hand tighter. She wanted to shout, to explain their history, but not here, not now. But what she didn't expect, Sarah thought, biting her lip, grappling with an impulse to reclaim her strength, to define what this moment meant for her and James without the looming presence of Jenna. James shifted closer, whispering, "Let us just dance. We don't need her approval." And for a moment, Sarah felt a flicker of hope. Maybe their present could outshine their past, but fear lingered like a shadow. "Let's," she replied, trying to ignore the tension. As they swayed once more to the music, she felt Jenna's eyes on them, dissecting, judging, teasing. A part of Sarah wanted to fold under the scrutiny, the other part boldened by the stakes. "It's just us," James whispered again, pulling her ear close. "What do you want this to be?" As they danced, lost in their moment, a spark ignited within Sarah. She could feel it, a blend of fear and excitement. But would that be enough to shield her against the reality of their shared world suddenly crashing back in? Just then, as the chorus soared and she surrendered to the feeling, she noticed Jenna slipping away, talking to another figure lurking in the shadows. The mystery ignited her curiosity, but it also deepened the weight in her gut. What did Jenna know that they didn't? The moment of truth loomed just beyond the dance floor. With a sigh, Sarah pushed aside her worries. The music swelled, filling her heart with a rush of determination. She narrowed her focus on James, who was lost in their rhythm, eyes sparkling like the stars overhead. Moments like this felt precious and fleeting, and she yearned for them to count. Together, she whispered back, matching his intensity. "Let us really see where this goes." As they parted ways after the dance, a surge of confidence powered Sarah forward. She felt lighter, like a weight had been lifted. But the lightness didn't last long. The nagging questions returned. Was she ready to forgive her past? Just then, she noticed Jenna again, chatting animatedly with someone, her laughter ringing out above the crowd. Who was she trying to impress? The jealousy prickled at Sarah, sparking the hurt she'd felt all those years in college when Jenna made everything seem so effortless. She wanted to be happy for Jenna, truly. But insecurity lingered, a ghost haunting their reunion. "Hey," James pulled her out of her thoughts, his eyes searching her face. "What's going on in there?" He gestured toward her temple. "Just thinking about everything," she admitted, threading her fingers through her hair in an attempt to pull herself together. "About Jenna. Old wounds are hard to ignore. We can't let her define our story," James stated firmly. This is about you, your choices, your journey. His words wrapped around her like a gentle embrace. Maybe he was right. Maybe Jenna's presence was a reminder of how far she'd come, how much she'd fought for the life she wanted. With a glimmer of resolve igniting her spirit, she spotted her parents mingling nearby, steadfast and supportive in their discreet corner. Let us go talk to them, Sarah suggested, heart racing. Yeah. Together, James replied, taking her hand and leading her through the crowd. As they approached her family, the air felt charged with expectation. Mom, Dad, this is James, Sarah said, her voice strong despite the butterflies fluttering in her stomach. Her parents exchanged looks, then her father smiled warmly. Great to meet you, James. We've heard so much, he replied. Sarah watched as a friendly exchange unfolded, warmth filling the space. Tension ebbed. James was a part of her world now, boldly stepping into the family circle. Thanks for being here, Sarah, her mother beamed, genuine love shining in her eyes. We're proud of you, really. And in that moment, it clicked for Sarah. Their acceptance wasn't about conditional love based on success but rather a recognition of who she was. She felt a rush of pride that made tears threaten her eyes. The glow of the evening washed over her, a vision of the future glowing bright. Do you want to join us? Her mother asked James, warmth radiating from her as she gestured toward a cluster of friends. No, thank you. I'm just happy to be here with Sarah, he said, and Sarah felt as if she could burst. Oh, how sweet! Her mom teased lightly, wrapping an arm around Sarah. It was the moment she needed, the comfort of family grounding her spirit in the new chapter ahead. Suddenly, Jenna emerged at the edge of the gathering, eyeing them with a look that cut through the joy. So, you're just going to forget the past? She held her gaze like a challenge. I'm building my future, Sarah stated firmly, her heartbeat steadying. And I'm not afraid to take James along for the ride. The confident facade mustered courage as if a veil had been lifted. Jenna's expression faltered, surprise flickering in her eyes. Well, good luck. You'll need it, Jenna retorted, but Sarah could sense the hesitation behind her words. The intentionless facade cracking as if Jenna's own insecurities were on display. Thanks, Sarah replied, her heart a medley of strength and release. With that encounter lingering, Sarah turned her focus back to James, drawing closer, connecting to the new heartfelt intention that bubbled within her waning fears. You ready to keep going? She asked, a smile breaking through. More than ever, James replied, his energy invigorating her spirit. As they stepped back into the vibrant ambience of the party, filled with laughter and promise, Sarah felt an exhilarating thrill pulse through her. Secure in the choice she'd made to embrace her truth, she realized she was ready to give herself permission to live. They swayed together on the dance floor, lost in the moment, exchanging knowing glances and laughter. Past and present intertwined, but she felt tethered to the possibility of the future. No longer looking back, she moved forward with renewed purpose, finally free to write their new story together. This was the moment of her transformation, the freedom to reclaim happiness, to forgive herself, and to embrace what lied ahead. As the music enveloped them, the world around faded to the backdrop of possibility, and just like that, something deep inside Sarah shifted. Not just hope, but the desire to leap into the unknown became her guiding light. Amidst the vibrant, sparkly world, she felt truly alive. Knowing this was just the beginning, you need to subscribe now and stay updated with the exclusive stories that keep inspiring transformations. This is the moment to show your support. Leave a like now to help fuel the algorithm. Comment below to share your thoughts and feelings about Sarah's incredible journey. And don't wait not even one more second to share this video with at least 5 friends who will appreciate this transformation journey. Your support matters like never before.